Hey, Nadia.
Hello.
I hijacked the podcast and made you just start recording, even though you don't want to talk about this topic.
You didn't even tell me the topic.
Exactly what we're talking about. I want to talk about mother daughter communication.
Oh boy.
I wanted to talk about mother daughter communication because it's been on my mind lately. And I have, I don't know, issues.
With me? Awesome.
Okay. I don't know where to start. If it's with a little like explanation about how I'm a little bit perplexed about how to improve my communication with my own mom,
Mhm.
or if we should just start on me and you and maybe just ignore my mom, my mommy issues.
You choose. You're the one that chose that hijacked the whole thing.
Okay, my thing, first of all, is that I really would love for you and I to have good communication now and then also into the future. I want us to feel like we can always talk to each other openly and feel supported
Yeah.
by each other, even if we don't agree
Mhm.
sometimes. And I think that lately, whenever, as you're like coming into your adulthood, when you turn to me and ask me my opinion on something or for help with
Mhm.
something, maybe half the time your response to me is as if you think I'm judging you.
Yes, we've had this conversation.
Can you explain to me judging?
I don't know if it's, I don't even know how to explain it. I think it's just something I've internalized as I've grown up. And not because you did anything wrong. I think it's just the way that maybe Lucy and I were like raised when we were living at home and when we were younger. I've always prioritized what you think, and maybe not what you think, but like how you might feel about my actions. I don't know how to explain it. It's just, it's not something that I actively choose to feel like, oh, I know I don't know. But we've had this conversation before, and I just
On
think
this
that
podcast? Have we had
I
this
don't think
conversation?
so. I don't know, but maybe about your
My
mommy
mommy
issues.
issues?
Yeah. I feel like I honestly don't even know how to explain. I think it's definitely changed since going to college in a good way, but I've always really prioritized what you think. And also that's like a cultural thing too. You're like, I don't know,
I think it's like
res-
just a
like a
mother-daughter thing,
respect
right?
thing too. Yeah, I don't know. I wish I had a better explanation of it, but I don't. Um I
Do
think
you
I
have
just
a
really want, I guess I seek approval in a lot of different aspects of life, not just with like you. So I don't know. Maybe it's like that type of thing. Validation.
do you think that, okay, first what I was gonna say was that, like, I think all little kids want
Hmm.
the approval they look to the approval of their parents because
Yeah.
it's, pretty apparent, and we've evolved this way as humans, it's pretty apparent to those little kids that the parents know a little bit more than them, so then they look to them for, "Is this okay? Can I do this?" And then
Yeah.
some kids are a little bit more rebellious than others. They look to
Hmm.
the parents, see if it's okay. If it's not okay, then they want to do it just to test the limits. But using the parents as a kind of like guide is probably a
Yeah.
pretty universal thing. Not just you, not just our
Yeah.
culture or whatever. And then I guess as you're going into college, clearly as you go into adulthood, you end up like wanting to make your own decisions. And sometimes what your choices are different from what I would advise.
Yeah.
But I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do there. Perhaps just listen. What if you're doing something and I think it's a really
Hmm.
bad idea?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do then? So that
I
you
don't
feel
really,
supported, but not judged.
I don't really have an answer. I think I've actually thought about this recently. In the sense that maybe when coming to college, it was like, "Oh my goodness, I don't have to, like, ask." I think in high school, like, I always asked approval for everything, and also I'm, like, a cautious person. I don't wanna do anything wrong, and also, like, never wanna get in trouble, and obviously that's more applicable when I'm living at home versus when I'm living on my own, and I can make my own decisions. But I always feel like, not in a bad way, but I try to I always have the urge to tell you guys everything. I'm usually a very open person about things that are happening, and especially in comparison to Lucy, I feel like she doesn't even tell me things, and I'm sure she doesn't tell you guys things unless you really ask her. In comparison to her, I feel like I overshare, and so sometimes it's about, "Oh, I don't know if I need to share this, or I just feel like you guys need to know every part of my life," which is a nice thing, but also then I'm putting myself in the position where I'm like, "Oh, wait, they're gonna judge me," but I'm the one that was sharing. I don't
Maybe
know,
you're
so I
sharing
was
maybe you're sharing because you wanna hear what we have to say about it, and you're really hoping that we'll be okay with it?
Yeah, that but sometimes I feel like I have to, or we've been pretty open with the things we've communicated to each other about, so I feel like I tell you a lot, or more than maybe my friends might tell their own mom, and I've noticed that too. Is like sometimes my friends will be like, "Oh, I wish I could talk to my mom about things like that." I'm like, "Yeah, it's really nice," but then sometimes I feel like I'm oversharing and maybe we're, like, saying these like, I didn't need to I we didn't need to talk about. And, like, in all sense, I don't know, sometimes I feel like I tell you things about things that are happening with friends or, like, other people, which, like, is totally not applicable to you, and, like, you don't really care, but I think I
But I
just
do
like
care.
talking. I do hear yourself
And
talk.
also, I mean, besides caring because 'cause you're my kid, it's it's pretty, I think, natural for one human to want to connect with a few humans, and even better if it's family. There's
Yeah,
always somebody that you should be talking to, and I
yeah,
would like to be on that list.
yeah.
But sometimes when I say things, you guys get mad at me.
I don't know, I feel like you're naturally the type of person to say, like, the pros and cons or in the situation, or you're very good at being the devil's advocate when I don't want the devil's advocate,
Oh,
and
I've heard
it's
that a lot from my friends too, actually. They'll say it ahead of time. They're like,
you
"Okay, I don't wanna fix this, and I
'cause
don't
you've
wanna hear the other
always
side. Can I
'cause
just
you've
tell you
always
what's
do that,
happening?"
play devil's advocate, which is nice in some situations, but then sometimes I don't want to know what the other side is. But, yeah, I don't know. I share, but I also am aware of how what I'm sharing might be perceived by you, so then I come in with, "Oh, I think she's gonna might be mad," or, I don't know, I don't know, but I don't know. It's a guessing game, but I do being open, and I'm pretty open with all my relationships with people. I wouldn't really want that to be different when it comes to family. I share things with Lucy all the time, and she doesn't share anything. She just, like, laughs. "Okay."
It's gonna be pretty funny if she ends up on this podcast. Because what is she gonna talk to us about? Nothing?
I don't know.
Maybe she asks us questions.
Yeah.
I also think it's really interesting that 2 people can be brought up in the same whole household with the same parents, relatively similar, like, exposures, right? Same school, same sport, whatever, but you guys are so different in your communication styles.
Yeah. But I feel like you guys, not in a bad way, but, like, you guys, like, treat us differently
Oh,
because
really?
of our personalities. Yeah, so I feel like I don't know, I feel like she never really shared that much, she never asked her like, pushed her to, but I feel like sometimes I'll answer, so you ask me questions. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
in the communication sense. You
Yeah,
just
well,
you let
mm,
her be alone. Wait,
well, in
not that you
Lucy's
don't let me be alone, but
well, in Lucy's case, when you're like, "Hey, Lucy, how are you?" "Good." "How's school?" "Good." "Anything happen?" "No."
yeah,
It's,
but then
"Oh,
that's the thing, you don't push it because if
tell
she
me
wants to
something
share,
that happened."
she's not gonna share if she doesn't want to. I'll share, so then it just became a habit, and I can't shut up sometimes. But, yeah, so I feel like our personalities have always been different, and so the way that we grew up was different with our communication with you guys and with your communication to us.
I think there's also another inflection there's another point
Mhm.
in our lives that it might change. I was reflecting back on my communication with my mom. Obviously, it was like a normal Not obviously. It was a pretty
Mhm.
typical relationship as a kid, as far as what your kid, you look to the mom for help or advice or whatever, and you want their approval. But as soon as I got into college, like, I
Mhm.
barely talked to my parents. I
Yeah.
don't think that was just me and my mom, though. I think kids that grew up, like, that were born in the '70s and '80s and high school in the '90s, like, I don't think very many of them talk to their parents at all in college. Like, I feel like that's relatively universal, but it could be that the people that I would talk to this about
Mhm.
are mostly, like, my Filipino American friends, and maybe that is common with children of Filipino immigrants. I'm not
Mhm.
sure, but I
That
mean, I
they
should
don't
ask my
talk they haven't but I don't know, I think when we don't I don't think we talk, like, very frequent I think we text very frequently, but we don't talk one-on-one very frequently, and a lot less than other people do. But I think that when
Yeah,
we do talk, it's a pretty open conversation. I don't know if that's a cultural thing or, like, we're always just busy.
it's true. There are some people that talk to their parents every day, so
Yeah.
we don't talk like that. But I know, like, that you go out on Thursday nights. I know
Yeah.
that you've gone on a couple dates with random through apps or whatever. I know
Yeah.
that you
Yeah. I know
are
that.
excited to go to Spain. Like, I know all these things.
Mhm.
Like, my conversations with my parents were like, "I'm coming home this weekend," or "Can I get some money?" I don't know. It was like
Yeah.
there was no, like, depth to the conversation and no personal details. But what I was gonna say was that's different for us, like, we're talking in college,
Yeah.
but I had another point of communication change with my mom, and that
Mhm.
was, like, I think when I started to have my own kids.
That's what I was gonna say. I
Oh,
feel
you
like
knew that without us even talking about it?
no, not that I noticed not that I would know
Who
parents'
didn't know
communication,
that?
but I just when you said it just now, I was thinking that the moment that it might change is when I also have kids. And maybe in the sense that I don't know, I'll understand you. I don't know, not you, but the way that we grew up more and parenting styles more. And on the other side, then not that we're like, it just feels like we're more equals. I can't think of another word for that, but
Peers?
yeah, because then I don't know. I don't know, but that's I was just thinking that when you were saying it.
Yeah, but I don't think that it got I think that our communication became worse when I became a parent,
I
which
think
I would
that
hope.
makes sense for you. I don't think that ours, knock on wood, I don't think ours will, but I feel like it makes sense for you. Because I feel like, I don't know, you've said things about the way that you grew up that you didn't like. And so I feel like you've made the active choice to not do that or not do those things with me and Lucy, which I'm grateful for, but not good for your mommy issues.
But yeah, I wonder if those will resolve. We'll see how it goes. I tell you that I wanna throw a retreat.
Yes. I think you brought it up, but you didn't explain it.
I think about the different themes, and I think one good theme might be like a mother-daughter bonding retreat.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think I can be responsible for helping people their relationships with
Yeah.
their mother or daughter, but I was thinking about reaching out to my friend Grace, who's a
Mhm.
psychologist, and her mom recently passed, and we just recently talked about mother-daughter communication and how to improve it,
Mhm.
and maybe she could lead that part. What do you think
Yeah.
would be you being 20,
Mhm.
would you want to go to a retreat like that?
I think I would, but I'm not sure at yes, at some point in my 20s, but not right now. I don't know. Obviously, there are things about our communication that we could change, but I don't really see anything that wrong with it. I think it's just like something that's changing over time. And I think that, like, when you say like a mother daughter bonding retreat, it's like people usually go on those when something's wrong and like they're trying to
Mhm.
fix it. It's like couples counseling type thing. Like,
Maybe it can be like a prehab, like a let's, like,
yeah,
fix it before it's broken.
yeah, but I feel like not a lot of girls my age do feel that, but I don't know if that's something they want to tackle right now. Like, I think
Mm.
later, yes, but not right now. because we're still, like, especially in college, like, figuring out how to parent ourselves, be, like, an adult. So I think
Mhm.
that once and it
You
still
don't want
feels like
input right now?
well, not that we don't want input, but it's we still yours you always will be, but your opinion still is, like, priority, whereas when you get older, like, you don't really have to care as much about what
Mhm.
your mom thinks or about, like, your parents' opinion because
What do you think the
you're
change
30
is?
years old.
What do you think the change is? Like the legal thing or the money thing or just
I think it's
you're
a
more
maturity
confident with
thing.
yourself thing?
Yeah. I think I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm, like everything's all over the place. I haven't even graduated college yet. I don't know what's happening in the future. So in that's feeling doesn't make me feel, like, confident to be like, "Okay,
I'm gonna do
let's"
my thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, I think after that point, which happens at different points in for everybody,
Mhm.
but I don't know.
I think it's quite possible that the irony is, like, the more supportive I am, or, like,
Mhm.
the more it's almost like the better of a communicator I can be, where you feel like you can always turn to me for advice, maybe the longer you'll feel like you need to turn to me for advice because the
Yeah.
communication's good. Like, maybe there needs to
Yeah,
be, like, a difficult point so that you just break free and do your own
and
thing.
maybe the difficult point already happened. I I'm choosing like, before it felt I think in high school, I think there was a change for me when I went to college in a good way, and now it's just something that I'm, like, figuring out on my own and not necessarily I'm fixing a problem, just like a pick and choose type situation. Or not pick and choose, but what can I figure out on my own versus when do I need outside help? And I've always thought that your opinion was like a valid opinion. So in those situations, I'd want advice. So over my friend's advice. Does that make sense? I have
Mhm.
other people, fortunately, I have other people I can reach out to too, but their opinion is not always what I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that, but
Their opinion isn't as important or as credible or
maybe
as
both. Not, no, not
because you know
maybe
that we
credible.
yeah, we care about you and
Yeah,
we know you, or you
right.
maybe when you're a teenager, you're like, "You don't even know me." But
Never thought like that, but I just
mhm,
my college friends and friends from home now know me in a different way than you know me, but I still know that you guys care about me, so it's a different type of opinion. And also, I have a problem with asking for help too much. But then
you do ask
knowing
for
when to
argument.
ask for help, but then sometimes I don't ask for help and then it's bad. So I don't know. Something I'm figuring out on my own.
We did it. We had the talk.
We've
We'll have
had this talk before.
not out loud on in public on our podcast, but maybe we should make a point
Mhm.
to think about when you start to feel like I'm a peer and vice versa, and then we can have a little celebration.
I don't think that's gonna happen for a really long time.
Yeah, but when it does, we can say it's happening.
Okay, ask me in 20 years.
Okay. All right. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, you too.